What a year 2019 has been for Guyana. The Department of Social Cohesion conducted numerous workshops and implemented programs all aimed at creating a more cohesive society. On this InfoHub Extended, we take a look at several of the programs and initiatives undertaken by the department, which falls under the purview of the Ministry of the Presidency. Guyana commemorated its 49th year as a republic with its annual flag raising ceremony at Durban Park. The 2019 ceremony focused on nurturing a sense of national pride and appreciation for the struggle of those who led the fight for Guyana's independence and nationhood.
Social Cohesion Minister, the Honorable Dr. George Norton, described the event as a perfect example of the ministry's effort to develop cohesion and celebrate diversity across the nation.
I'm happy, really happy. I'm glad we were able to have the program here tonight. And thankfully the breeze was blowing, so we saw the flag in all its glory.
There is no day like Mashti Day, and on February 23rd, Guyana celebrated its 49th Republic anniversary under the theme, Celebrate Mash 49 with Victory in Mind.
The Mashti Parade featured 27 different floats, including a few from the government ministries. As always, the holiday attracted thousands of Guyanese and foreigners to celebrate this achievement and the country's rich and diverse culture. Dr. Norton described the parade as a success.
Describing the route as the longest the nation has ever paraded, Minister Norton mentioned that MASH will only get better in years to come. March 2019 featured several youth development programs. The establishment of the Sofia Night School program provides second chances. Collaborating with the Ministry of Social Protection, the Sofia Night School program provided a workshop to help prepare persons for the work environment.
Program coordinator of the Sofia CXC Night School, Aura Nelson, stated that the establishment begun in 2016 and offers 10 CXC subjects. 20-year-8-old Stephen Adams shared his appreciation for the program.
The classes are very awesome because it gives youths a second chance. Mostly persons who wrote CSEC before but didn't quite get all the subject they needed.
Taking it back a little bit to the Mashramani festivities, Berbetians celebrated their Mash Day on March 4th. Berbice Mash 2019 was dubbed the largest turnout thus far.
Minister of Education, the Honorable Dr. Nicolette Henry, marched down the streets while waving the golden arrowhead proudly. She was one of the band leaders for the APNU and AFC band, which was the largest in the parade.
Actually, what I thought I saw here was pretty good and encouraging. A lot of hype, a lot of celebratory mood, and people, were very warm and that type of thing. So I'm really enjoying myself out on the street. This is my hometown, as I'm always very comfortable being in Berbice, particularly New Amsterdam. So I'm just enjoying the day.
The Education Minister, who is a native of New Amsterdam, described Mashramani as a celebration and encouraged all to join in the festivities.
The Department of Social Cohesion honored the South Commingsburg, popularly known as Tiger Bay community, with an arts and robotic camp. Food hampers were also distributed, compliments of the German's restaurant, which partnered with the department.
Minister Norton shared the government's commitment to equip the young people with necessary knowledge to forge development. The minister noted that similar exercises would be undertaken in communities across the country. Minister Norton also noted that better things are ahead for the Tiger Bay community. He also emphasized the significance of youths having a leading role to play. Mayor of Georgetown, His Worship Ubraj Narain, said that the community has the mayor and city council support and assistance is readily available, especially for the youth.
In the latter part of March, the National Youth Corps was launched by President David Granger at the Kurukuru Training Center on the Linden-Soesdijk Highway.
Young people are this country's future. It cannot be otherwise. It is the older generation's obligation to ensure that the young population receives the best possible preparation to enable them to inherit this nation. Guyana, if it is to fulfill its destiny as a land of opportunity and prosperity, must harness the potential of its majority, its young people.
Spoken like a true leader, those were the words of President David Granger. The education minister echoed similar sentiments as the head of state.
Well, this is really a very important initiative and step for us here, because what this represents in a large way is capturing those young people who are not eligible for employment, further education or training. And so to have them in an institution that will provide that level of training and preparatory work so that they can be prepared whether they want to enter the world of work or to continue training or to be entrepreneurs and be their own bosses and employers. This is the type of opportunity and institution that you need so that they can develop the skills, they can be given the support, and hopefully they can work towards the development of this beautiful country.
In observance of World Health Day, April 7th, the Department of Social Cohesion and Regions 4 Regional Democratic Council hosted its first mental health session for youths. It was hosted at the Pleasance Secondary School under the theme Universal Healthcare, Everyone, Everywhere.
Social worker attached to the Ministry of the Presidency, Gillian Frank, said the initiative was birthed to raise awareness on mental health issues among youths.
At our Department of Youth, we are trying to raise awareness on youth and health because that is one of our thematic areas at the ministry.
April also featured the nation's first youth employment drive hosted by the department. The drive was a success as it attracted more than 700 youths.
A young applicant, Renee Beaton, shared her views on how useful the country's first youth employment drive was.
I believe it's a good initiative, and in allowing young persons to have the opportunity to meet with various companies, it's definitely showing that the ministry has been listening to what young people are in need of, which is jobs, and the fact that they're utilizing their human resources well. I believe it's a great initiative, and I hope to continue seeing more of it.
Another young applicant, Nashava Thompson, shared her appreciation.
I think it's a well thought out event. We can use more of this in Guyana, to be very honest. And thanks to the CRMA, my application is in. So in case of any other job vacancies that pop up, if I'm not fortunate enough to be hired by one of the companies here today, they can always call when a vacancy pops up that suits my qualifications. So kudos to them.
Senior Research Planning and Development Officer attached to the Ministry of the Presidency Department of Youth, Adeti De Jesus, stated that the event was hosted in order to address the high unemployment rate in Guyana.
Basically, there are a number of initiatives to address the youth unemployment issue, but we recognize that we need to focus it from the standpoint of training and education. So you would have heard there is the launch of the Guyana Youth Corps. So the Guyana Youth Corps will be catering for persons who are not in education, employment, or training. And once persons would have received the requisite training, we would refer them to higher education, help them to get access to grant through the Youth Innovation Fund and so forth. What we're doing is basically providing the space and the opportunity for you to meet with different company representatives, to be interviewed, for you to provide your information to them, and for them to call you. So these companies would have expressed an interest to be part of this initiative, and we would have contacted numerous companies, but we have 8 companies on board today.
That was Senior Research Planning and Development Officer, Department of Youth, Adeti De Jesus. Qualfund Guyana Incorporated, Quartz Guyana, Demerara Distillers Limited, Guyana Telephone and Telegraph Company, Giftland Mall, and the Masterclass Institute were the businesses that supported the Youth Employment Drive.
The initiative coincided with the United Nations Development Programme UNDP Sustainable Development Goal SDG 8, which speaks to decent work and economic growth. In June 2019, a youth leadership training program graduated 50 youths from 8 administrative regions. The program equipped its participants with good leadership skills, problem solving, and much more.
Senior Administrative Manager for the Youth Empowerment Unit, Department of Social Cohesion, Fionn Marshall, said,
We have another program which is the Youth night school, catering for persons who would have dropped out of school, who didn't have the opportunity to write CXC, and those persons who would have established youth organizations. We utilize their services to manage the night schools that we have right across the regions.
Youths were provided with opportunities to represent Ghana as youth ambassadors at the United Nations Conference in the United States of America.
You know, one of the most important things for our youth in Guyana is that we understand leadership, not in the sense of what we learned on a PowerPoint somewhere or something that we read in a book, but how do we apply the skill sets that we've learned, and to understand that this is about practical leadership and how they can take these lessons learned, how they can use their skill sets, their gifts, their abilities, their competencies to make an impact in their community, in their region, in the country.
That was the president of the Masterclass Institute and Social Rank Media, Rosh Khan, sharing his thoughts on the importance of the youth empowerment.
The Guyana National Cadet Corps concluded its second 10-day training camp at the Cotton Field Government Compound in Region 2 in mid-July.
The training camp featured 500 of Guyana's future leaders who were exposed to adventure, academics, social, and cultural activities. Regional Executive Officer Dennis Jaikran explained the importance of the camp.
The period of training allowed them to be able to garner a number of skills, the skills that would take them to the next stage in life. And so I urge them that as they get back to the various communities, the various villages, the various regions, to let this be a multiplying effect so that more can be involved, more can be absorbed in the process of development, and so that better life for all Guyanese is going to be there.
Sometimes one day is all you need to make a difference, and that was proven by the Social Cohesion Department when it hosted a one-day conflict resolution workshop at St. Cuthbert Mission.
Residents of the St. Cuthbert's Mission were educated on conflict resolution and consensus-building methods to not only improve their communication skills, but to also promote the formation of a conflict resolution framework.
The president thought it was very important that he get in an organized manner that Ministry of Social Cohesion so that we can resolve our problems in a systemic way. I say so because sometimes we know what the problem is, we know what is causing the problem, we know how to solve the problem, but we're not getting it done. And you need guidance. We are prepared to give you that guidance.
Aiming to produce well-rounded youths, the Republic Bank Limited continued its tremendous support when it donated $1.2 million to the Pan Minor Music Literacy Program to further develop and sustain the steel pan movement through the Department of Social Cohesion.
And I'm glad that we're introducing this art form to new schools and across Guyana. But also we are resuscitating schools that probably had already had the exposure. It all goes well, it all goes well for the sustaining the steel pan art form.
On the final day of July 2019, 77 youths graduated from a Volunteer Youth Corps Workforce Development Program.
This initiative was part of the USAID-funded Community, Family, and Youth Resilience Program in Guyana. Goldie Scott, the Chief Executive Officer of the Volunteer Youth Corps, cited the significance of the program.
The program aims to reduce risk factors associated with crime and violence by increasing access to employment opportunities for 80 at-risk youths between the ages of 16 to 29 years.
Deputy Chief of Mission, USAID, Mark Cullinane, congratulated the youths for their diligent work and commitment. He stated that the benefits of the Community, Family, and Youth Resilience Program, including creating firm family bonds and community support systems to produce alternatives to violence among youths.
The Department of Social Cohesion, in collaboration with the National Sports Commission, hosted its annual Learn to Swim training program. And here's the Director of Sport, Christopher Jones.
Entering your children into the summer program is essentially the commencement of what we at the National Sports Commission hope to be a long-term investment in your children. But essentially this program is geared for us to identify Guyana's best talents as it relates to swimming. Our coaches, our swim team at the National Sports Commission, with assistance from the Guyana Amateur Swimming Association, we can produce the talents that we need, that your children or your child will be able to represent this country abroad.
These were just a few of the programs undertaken by the Department of Social Cohesion in 2019. Many will continue into this new year. This has been InfoHub Extended. Thanks for watching. Goodbye for now.